For years, I carried words in silence of phrases that burned against my chest, yet never found their way past my lips. I hid them between conversations, buried them under gestures, tucked them away in glances I hoped you would understand. This message was never written on paper, never spoken aloud, and yet it was always there, echoing beneath everything I said and did. It was the invisible thread binding my actions to my heart, waiting for the day I would finally have the courage to let it rise to the surface. Today that silence ends. Today the secret is yours to hear. The truth is, every smile I gave you, every moment I lingered a little too long, every time I appeared when you least expected it was never by accident. I wanted you to know without knowing, to feel without asking, to recognize that everything in me was quietly bending toward you. My secret message was simple yet infinite. You were always the reason. The reason I stayed when I could have left, the reason I kept fighting when the world grew heavy, the reason I returned even when distance seemed permanent. It was never about circumstances, never about coincidence, it was always about you. And now as I reveal it plainly, I wonder if you'll look back and see what I see, that the signs were always there, hidden in plain sight. Every time I said goodbye, what I really meant was I'll find my way back. Every time I called you my friend, what I truly meant was you hold my heart. Every time I stayed silent, when the words trembled on the edge of my tongue, what I meant was I love you in ways I did yet know how to confess. So here it is, my secret, unveiled, no longer bound in shadows. Everything I've done, everything I've endured, every path I've taken has been leading to this moment, this truth, this revelation that belongs to you and you alone. The message was never hidden to deceive, it was hidden because it was too sacred, too immense, to be spoken lightly. But now, I give it to you in full. You have always been my beginning and my end, my silence and my song, my secret and my truth. There is something haunting about carrying words inside you for so long that they begin to feel like part of your very being. I lived with the secret message like one lives with a heartbeat, constant, silent, essential. It became the rhythm of my days, the hidden current beneath every decision, the reason behind every choice that might have otherwise seemed small or meaningless. No one knew, not even you, that while the world thought I was moving forward, my steps were always circling back toward a truth I could never release. And now, as I peel back the layers of silence that have cloaked me all this time, I realize that this message was never meant to be hidden, it was only waiting for the right moment to be understood. That moment, I feel, has arrived. The message itself is not complicated, in fact, it is devastatingly simple. But its simplicity is what makes it so powerful. It is the truth that while the world shifted, while seasons changed, while years passed in quiet disguises, my heart refused to let go of one thing: you. Every victory, every failure, every distance I tried to put between us was met with the same conclusion: I belonged where you were. That is why, even when I disappeared, even when I pretended to move on, even when I tried to rewrite my life without you, the universe had a way of undoing my illusions, and bringing me back to the undeniable. And so, buried in my silence, the secret was always there. I never left you, not really. I'd only left the space between us empty, hoping one day you would notice what had been there all along. Think back to every conversation we ever shared, every passing look, every moment where words seemed unnecessary, but the air felt charged with something unspoken. That was my message. When I laughed at your smallest jokes, it was not laughter, it was my soul telling you that joy was easier in your presence. When I lingered just a fraction too long, watching you when you weren't looking, it was not hesitation, it was my heart begging for a way to exist near you without shattering from the intensity of wanting more. Every goodbye I ever gave you was not an ending, it was a coded promise that one day, I would find a way to reveal everything I had kept hidden. And so here it is, stripped of its disguises, raw and undeniable. My secret message is that you have always been the axis of my world. The reason behind my resilience, the spark in my silence, the pulse in my stillness. This revelation is not meant to shock you, but to awaken you to what has been quietly present all along. Every moment of my absence was filled with you, every act of my presence was defined by you, and every vision of my future is illuminated only by you. That is the truth I guarded, the truth I now place before you, no longer as a hidden whisper, but as the unshakable foundation of everything I am. For years, I've carried a secret inside me, one that has been too heavy to let out, too fragile to put into careless words. It lived in me like a shadow that never left, like a constant whisper pressed against the walls of my chest. Sometimes it was loud, roaring in my silence, demanding that I speak, and other times it was soft, almost easy to ignore, like a faint echo of something I didn't have the courage to face. But it was always there, in every corner of my life, woven into every choice I made. I would wake up in the mornings pretending that it was gone, only to find it waiting for me at night, staring back at me when the world went quiet. And all this time, I wondered, if I told you, would it change everything between us? Would it rewrite the way you looked at me, the way you remembered every moment we ever shared? Or would you already know, deep down, because sometimes the truth does need to be spoken to be felt? This message was not written in letters, nor spoken in words. It was hidden in the spaces between. In a way I lingered just a little too long when our eyes met, in the way my voice would falter when I said your name, in the way I looked away as though I was afraid that if I kept staring, you would see everything I tried so desperately to hide. It was in the pauses, in the hesitations, in the silences that seemed empty, but were in fact overflowing with meaning. I never had to say it, because it lived in the tension between us, in the electricity that neither of us dared to acknowledge, but both of us felt. That was my secret message. You were always my center, even when I pretended not to notice, even when I tried to convince myself otherwise. I told myself 1,000 stories to bury this truth. I told myself you would never understand, that revealing it would destroy the fragile balance we had, that it was safer to love you quietly than to risk losing you entirely. But the longer I carried the secret, the heavier it became, until it began to rewrite me from the inside out. The message stopped being a choice, stopped being something I could control. It became who I was. And that's why I'm here now, peeling away the silence, because to hide it any longer would be a betrayal, not just to you, but to myself. I need you to know that you were never just a passing moment in my life. You were, and still are, the reason the world has meaning for me. And so I reveal it. My secret message is love. A love that never asked permission to exist, never cared for timing, never bowed to reason. A love that outlasted distance, silence, and fear. A love that was quiet, but unrelenting, patient yet merciless. This is the confession born out of impulse. It's the culmination of years of holding back, years of pretending, years of living two lives, the one I showed the world, and the one that beat inside me every time I thought of you. You have always been my hidden truth, the unspoken sentence at the end of every thought, the one thing I could never erase, no matter how hard I tried. And now at last, I cannot hold it back any longer. For so long, I kept this hidden inside me, almost as if I had locked a fragile piece of my soul inside of all that no one else was meant to open. I guarded it fiercely, carrying it like a secret flame, afraid that if I revealed it, the entire world around me would change, afraid that you would change. It was that I did trust you. It was that you had earned the truth. It was simply that this message was too powerful, too raw, too defining. Once spoken, it could never be taken back. It could never be undone. So I carried it in silence, burying it beneath small distractions, burying it beneath ordinary words, all while knowing that no matter how hard I tried, it was still there, whispering at the edges of every thought, every memory, every moment that had anything to do with you. And that was the real burden, not the message itself, but the weight of knowing it was always alive inside me, waiting for the moment I would finally have the courage to set it free. The truth is, my secret message was never written in ink or carved into paper. It lived in the invisible space between us. It lived in the pauses of our conversations, in the way my laughter would linger after yours, in the stillness when silence settled but never felt empty. It lived in my hesitation to let my eyes meet yours for too long, because I knew if I did, I would unravel and give myself away. Every time I pulled back, every time I tried to act like you did affect me, every time I pretended that I wasn't breaking in, City was writing that message in invisible ink, a message that only you could ever read, if you paid close enough attention. And part of me always wondered, did you know? Did you feel it? Did you sense the way the air shifted when you entered a room? The way the world tilted just slightly when you stood close to me? Because even if I never said it, even if I tried to deny it, my soul was already. I thought I was strong enough to keep it hidden forever. I thought I could live with it tucked away in the background, a silent companion I would carry until the end. But secrets don't stay buried forever. They grow restless. They demand release. And the longer I carried this one, the more it consumed me. It began to bleed into everything I did, everything I was. No matter how carefully I tried to control it, no matter how fiercely I tried to cage it, the truth kept breaking through the cracks, through the softness in my tone when I spoke to you, through the way I remembered things you probably forgot, through the quiet ache that settled in me when you weren't there. And slowly, I realized that this message wasn't just something I was keeping from you, it was something I was denying myself. Because what's the point of carrying a truth so powerful if it never has the chance to be seen, to be heard, to be known? So here it is. My secret message, finally revealed, finally free from the prison I built around it. I love you. Not in the way people use the word carelessly, not in the fleeting way that fades when circumstances change, not in the shallow way that bends under pressure. I love you in the kind of way that transforms everything it touches. I love you with the quiet strength of years of silence, with the resilience of something that refused to die even when I tried to bury it, with the inevitability of something written in the very fabric of who I am. You are not just someone who passed through my life. You are the reason so many chapters exist at all. You are the unspoken constant, the heartbeat I try to ignore, the gravity I could never escape no matter how far I wandered. And that is the truth I've been carrying all this time. You are my secret, and you are also my revelation.